Thank you. Thank you, Dylan. Indeed, a very hard act to follow. Well, we made it. And there were some bumps along the way, some of which have just been alluded to. But we came through it. And in fact, we ended in a very good way. You've had a really great year 12. And a fitting and proud end to your Scopus and your school career. I have to tell you, I feel a certain special connection to this year group. Now, for good reasons, as well as the other reasons. You started secondary school the same time as I started Mount Scopus, and we've grown through it together. And there's another special reason. Whereas every teacher feels their relationship with the students is a little bit like that of a parent, in this case, at least to one of you, I speak as a father as well as a principal. And in that spirit I say that there are two things that every parent and also every teacher wishes for their children. One is roots and the other is wings. And the roots are the knowledge and the security and the foundation for learning that you've acquired from your parents, from your family, and from all your teachers at Mount Scopus. That sense of where you've come from that helps you understand who you are. But the wings are those tools which we hope we've given you as well, that enable you to embark on the next stage, that enable you to fly. And where should you fly to? Well, if I can possibly disagree with Dylan, you should keep your dreams and you should fly to the place where you fulfill those dreams. And that is why your task now is so critical, to define what those dreams are and keep them in sight as you fly, so that whether you suffer the twists and turns and you get buffeted by the currents, if you still keep your course set and you still keep your eye on those goals, you'll be okay. So what should you dream about? Well, it's traditional for a principal in an address like this to say, go out and change the world. And I'm quite traditional, so I'll say, go out and change the world. And it might be that one of you makes that scientific or medical or technological breakthrough that improves the lives of millions. And it might be that one of you develops a new way of thinking about our world or about history that helps society to grow in a better way. But changing the world doesn't have to be on such a global scale. Changing the world starts with changing a country, or changing a city, or changing a community, or changing a family, or just changing oneself. And in this way, little by little, the entire world is changed. But one thing is for sure, in this era, where we are so connected to each other, we can't change the world alone. We have to do it in a team. We have to do it with others. And the easiest way to become bigger and greater than you are is to be part of a cause which is bigger and greater than you. But that, dreaming of what you want to do, is actually the easier part. The much greater challenge, and in fact the much more urgent task, is to decide how you dream of who you want to be. Perhaps the most well-known dream in the Bible is that of the patriarch Jacob, who runs away from his brother fearing death, and he goes down to sleep, and he has a vision of a ladder stretching from earth to heaven, and angels ascend and descend. And the sages and the commentators strive to find interpretations of this particular description. And the Talmud says that the angels were traveling between heaven and earth in order to compare the real Jacob sleeping down here with the ideal, perfect version of Jacob that resided in heaven. And they wanted to compare the two to see how far apart was the actual from the ideal. And similarly, we need to create that ideal version of the person that we can be, and then measure how far apart that is from where we currently are. And each one of us will do this in a completely different way. But I would suggest 3 elements which should be a common core to defining the ideal person, the ideal us. And the first is to be a person of integrity, a person who is honest, who strives for truth, and thereby earns trust. That commodity which is so hard to acquire and so easy to lose, and that's why it's priceless and precious. And the second thing I would say is to be sensitive to the needs of others, to know how to help, to know when to help and when to stay silent. We have a beautiful word for this quality. It's called being a friend. And not a Facebook friend, which one can become in an instant with a click, but a true friend, which takes years of dedication and devotion and love. And the third thing I would say to be is to be Jewish, which is not an automatic choice. It's not a default position today. It's a choice that has to be made. And may you make that choice not just because your parents and grandparents were Jewish, relevant though that is. Not just because your children should be Jewish, significant though that is. But because engaging with Jewish life brings beauty and meaning into your own lives. And the more we learn, the more we realize how true that is. And today, we are blessed to live in a time where part of being Jewish is to feel a connection and a love for the people in the state of Israel. That place where they really did make the desert bloom. And from that desert grew a society which is now a world leader in technology and academia, and yes, in morality. A society which is good. And when we hear the shrill discourse of people, they're arguing about how to make it even better. And for the entire Jewish people, that society is the work of our hands. And so, as a starting point in creating the ideal person that we should strive towards, be honest, be a friend, and be Jewish. In this era of a cult of celebrity, don't just strive to be the person whom others want to look like, nor the person whom others want to live like, but strive to be the person whom others want to be like, the person they admire and the person they respect. Teachers know a lot of different things, but one thing every teacher knows is that if you set high expectations for your students, they will rise to meet them. If we set a tough challenge, then students will struggle to fulfill that challenge. And so it should be with yourselves. Dream great dreams. Set for yourself high expectations. And take your wings and learn to fly. Thank you very much.